Hello and welcome back to Swanage Model Railway. In this video we will be taking a deeper dive into my turntable and the control behind the turntable, as it has now been replaced and fitted in. As on previous shows, the turntable has been the least functional part of this railway, which has always irritated me. The last show, the new system performed rather well. So we'll be taking a look into the system in this video, how it works, what it's made of, as well as the control unit. On a side note, I'm still missing one circuit, therefore it doesn't run as smooth as it can. And once the circuit is programmed up and installed, the turntable should move a lot more smoothly. First thing we gotta do is get the boards up, or this board up, so we can see underneath it, and so I can show you the turntable motor itself. So I'll get that done and I'll cut to the next video. Okay, so now that we're underneath the panel, or I've tilted on its side, we can now see the stepper motor which drives the turntable, which has got a lot more bracketing around it now. We've got foam to try and absorb some vibration coming out of the system. So if I come up here, you can see the metal gear there, which has got teeth on it, which then connects with the belt, and then the belt drives the big gear, which connects to the turntable. At the last show, this proved itself and proved that it was able to handle the turntable. We also got two small bearings here which sit against the wheel to ease on the tension of that so that it doesn't snap off. And then we've got a larger bearing here just to make sure it all turns quite smoothly, which it does. This motor's also got a lot more torque than the Pico one that I've used before, as the Pico one kept getting stuck and then we had to keep helping the motor to turn. But that is how it's currently set up. Then if I follow this cable back, I have yet to mount this in. This is a quite basic stepper motor tester. So I've got on off, so now that I've turned that on, you can see that's just slowly turning. That's a 1 to 14 step down ratio from what the motor's doing. And yes, it does sound loud at the moment, but that's because I haven't got an Arduino circuit in between them yet. Working on getting one of those programmed up to go in between. But we've also got a secondary button which we can use to reverse the direction. It sounds loud at the moment, but when I'm actually at exhibitions, like the last one in Swellcliffe Community Centre, it wasn't as loud. Also got a little speed gauge or speed adjuster, but I have that on the lower setting anyway. So as that's running, you can see the big gear turning. So it's quite a nice rate. So if I just peek you onto the other side of that, we get the turntable movement. But this is running off of a 5-volt power supply. So I'll just cut that off for a minute. So you can see it just down there. Came with a little plug to connect it with. So this runs on 5-volt 2 amps, which is all it really needs. If it's just running constantly, it does get warm, but that's fine. But all of this brackets and stuff, the large wheel and everything is actually 3D printed. And pretty cool, if I do say so myself. I wasn't the one that designed all of this. Also designed by the same one that designed my little bungalow. And it works rather well. That all connects onto the last mount that the turntable ran on. So now that we've had a look at this, I'll get the layout back down. My next job on the layout is to mount the control module on the back wall anyway, where the old one used to be behind the bridge. Once that's done, I've done all the work I need to do on this panel for now, and I'll be moving on to the next project, which is the co-op car park on the first 2 panels near the station buildings. So I'll just get this down, I'll roll an engine onto it, and then we can see it turn an engine. Okay, so here we go. Let's just get our engine running. And let's set the points for the turntable. And there we go. Now that we've got a better angle on the turntable, let's just start it spinning. It's a nice speed, but can be slightly adjusted. About to hit the point where the polarity changes. Right there. So the sound drops out briefly. At this point I can choose to manually stop it for the shed, but this engine's a bit big. And that's back in line. The main reason we run a turntable this large is to turn large engines like this around. Well, because they don't always have a forward connection on them. As it shows, it's always nice to be able to turn an engine around, just so you can hook back on and pull a train back out. Now let's bring in one of my other later arrivals. Just got to switch a section of track. And I can bring in a little shunt river like I used to on the previous video. Just coming over the points now. And then that loco can continue to get worked on. With this new motor and control module, the turntable works a lot more better and reliably than it ever used to. Which is really good, as it's been a bit of a bane at a lot of previous shows where I'm always trying to strive to make the layout more reliable. The turntable has always been the bit that I've hated because it's not been working, and when it did work it wasn't strong enough to turn the larger engines, which was the whole point of having it. So we've had to restrict the engines that we could bring to events and shows just so we didn't have to use the turntable, and we've just had it out of service for the longest period of time, which I am now happy to be getting away from that. The fact that the turntable is now functional. I'm going to properly secure this control unit in the back wall now, as the turntable proved itself during the previous show. We may not have turned much around, and I may not have got any footage of loco turning, but that'll be different when we go to the Maidstone show. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions about the module, feel free to ask, and I'll do my best to answer any of the questions you have. As always, thanks for watching, feel free to subscribe, and thank you all for your messages.